Hi and welcome back to Soccer Hunter's YouTube channel. This is number 4. You can't see that on camera. This is number 4 piece of paper from the non-sanded pastel paper sample pack from Jackson's that I got. I've tried the first 3 and liked them for different reasons. My least favorite thus far is the Fabriano Ingres paper. It is kind of thin and it's soft, and it tends to curl up when I use fixative on it. But it's not bad in other ways. That is a bad drawing, and that is my fault, not the paper's. So the Fabriano Ingres paper, that's the 3rd Ingres paper in here, and it's 160 gram, and it's the same as the Fabriano I just showed you, but this is a lot stiffer. I smudged a little oil pastel on there by accident, so I think I'll save this half for the oil pastel test. And so this has quite a smooth surface, but not too smooth. I'm gonna make a drawing here with colored pencils, and I'll make a little sample of some pastel pencils as well. All the other papers have not worked with the pastel pencils, and I mean, when 3 types of paper that works good or somewhat good with other things, then it's not the paper's fault, then it's the pencils. I'm gonna keep on testing them on all 6 papers because that's what I started out with, but I'm getting more and more convinced that those pastel pencils are not really good for much, not on their own at least. So I'll pause the camera and I'll come back and do a drawing with colored pencils. So you can't really see it, but I just sketched out a pumpkin. Now I've been doing animals for the other test. No, I did a mushroom as well, but I felt like doing a pumpkin right now. So it's a chance to get out some oranges and bright red. Use golden browns as well for some highlights, and I'll use the green stuff for the stem. Perfect excuse to get some orange going. These are Pro Colors and they're heart pencils. And they go on okay, but this is just the first layer. The real test comes when we start to add highlights and darks and stuff like that later on. This is fairly smooth surface, so I have no high hopes on this being good. I don't think it can take the paper can take the amount of layers that I really want to put on here. It's kind of a mid-gray paper, I like the color. I like working on mid-tone colored paper. It adds something to the drawing. It can be a challenge if your media is too transparent, but it also gives it helps bring the colors together without me having to do a whole lot. If you're doing other kinds of drawings on here, kind of very sketchy drawings. Mid-tone paper is good because you can then pretty much just do drawings where you use light colors for highlights and darks for shadows, and that's all you need to add. 2 seconds. So yeah, so you can save yourself some time in your sketching process if you can just use the mid-tone of the paper. If you go and look at some people who sketch on, like Strathmore has tan, and they have a grey as well. And there's quite a lot of portrait artists who make amazing work out of that. Yeah, the layering is a little challenged. I did expect that from that. This is a very hard and very smooth surface. I have a hard time seeing how it can grab onto the pigment, especially from a hard pencil like this. It's not unusual, it's more the rule than the exception, that hard pencils doesn't leave a lot of pigment behind on each passing of the pencil, because they are hard, and the hard stuff doesn't erode as easily as soft stuff. It's just physics. But this is kind of, even for this pencil, kind of unusual to give off this little pigment for each passing, and I don't really feel that it grips the paper, especially now I'm on my second-ish layer. I expect the Colosoft to work better on this paper, but I question if either of them is actually working really good. I can use it for sketching, but I have no idea what it costs, so it might be too expensive to use a sketch paper. I have no doubt it is fine for the pastels, as it is pastel paper. All 3 of the previous have been good pastel papers. I'm just kind of trying to find a decent kind of paper that is not necessarily a watercolor paper to do some sketching and testing color pencil work with. And for that I am abusing stuff that wasn't made for colored pencils. So if it gets a minus on colored pencil work, it's no big deal, because it's me, it's not the paper. I'm trying to make a race car out of a ordinary family car. I have a hard time covering my my graphite lines with these pencils on this paper. That's another telltale that even the graphite fills up the tooth fairly quickly. I like a dark shadow in here, but that's gonna be a challenge. I mean, I get it, but I can't get it like as deep as I can. And yeah, I don't really want to go on as the third layer here. And I don't get any kind of mixing or blending, it just kind of sits strangely on top of the previous layer. Now, if that's kind of an effect that you want, let me zoom in. See how it's kind of streaky. Can even, no, that's as far as the camera goes. You got that streaky effect of my, where it didn't take down here because I put too much color on there already. It's of course a matter of preference and taste, how you like your drawings. But that shows that this, and I'm not even pushing hard. That I can't layer anymore, really. So it is kind of, I can use it for some very light sketching, but that's it. I can't finish anything on this paper when it that quickly fills up the tooth of the paper. Now, if it's at a price level similar to sketching paper, I would consider using it, but I think it costs more than a sketch pad, to be honest. I think I have cheaper sketch paper that works better than this, so likely I'm not going to buy it for color pencils. Now, if it's amazing for the pastels, then I'm gonna try. That's a different story. So I'll try and see if I can help this with some color soft pencils here. If they will stick better to the paper than the Pro Colors. They do, but it's not surprising, but they don't really want to cover the mess I made with the hard pencil first. I should actually do the opposite. I should make my base layers with the soft and then do my detailing with the hard ones. It helps. Now, I was trying things out with my Pro Color blender before. I think I'll try that again. It's still green from my previous drawing though. Now this paper just soaks the ink right out of this. So for that reason I won't be using it much, because that will dry it out really quickly. yeah, I'll just try this out if I keep using it on that kind of paper. So it worked great on the Clairefontaine paper though. I'll say one thing about the Clairefontaine paper that I tried before, and that is the last paper on here. I know it's the Canson Methane, and that is a good paper for a lot of different things. And I have loads of that lying around, so I think I'll use that up before I buy any more similar paper. Yeah, so this soft one here is kind of okay. But it's a bit strained. It struggles. So, I mean, it gives a decent drawing enough, but the color, I can't get anywhere near the color intensity that I hoped for. Just wait until I get to the second page with the soft pastels. That will work just beautifully. Yeah, it's not not a paper for masterpieces, that's for sure. And so this might be a thing to consider if you're struggling with some kind of art. You kind of just can't get things the way you want them, especially if the colors doesn't seem to be what other people get out of them. It can't be the paper or the canvas or whatever you're using it on. It goes both ways. You can take really good pencils and you put it on paper that is not suitable and you don't get the result. Or you can have really good paper and then if your pencils or whatever is not really up to scrap, you also don't get the result. So it's a matter of kind of matching stuff up, have things that work well together. So yeah, I can try to put a little bit of black in here just because that will help a bit. Defining it a bit better. So, I think the answer to this is me. It's not really bad, but it's also not really good. So that is my official version of it. I don't want to try and make a background. I'm just gonna try and maybe draw a leaf kind of thing here. Just a leaf. For line work, these pencils are okay. They don't smear all that well. But yeah, scratchy and strange again. I say it works better, I think, than on the other kinds of paper, but not really good. I think that's minus to me. Not really. So that was Fabriano Ingres pastel paper with colored pencils and pastel pencils. I liked it not too much with the colored pencils, and less with the pastel pencils, but yeah, I won't put too much in that. If it's the best thing you can get, yeah, you can use colored pencils with this, but I think you need to use a lot of mineral spirit, odorless mineral spirit or something, assisted or something, if you want any kind of layering on this. And even that I doubt will really help you much. It didn't help me a lot, and it's too absorbent for my taste. It kind of just sucks the liquid down into the paper, so you don't get much use of it on the surface. The drawing stands nice and sharp, and that's because it's a hard paper with a hard pencil on it. So it's not a paper I run out to buy for my colored pencils. So thank you for watching. I will next do my oil and soft pastel test on this, and I expect this to be quite okay. I could really think that this would be good with the oil pastels, because I find they work better on not too grainy paper. So keep watching. Thanks.